da, 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 da. Good morning, everybody. This is Grant from State of the Spark doing an early show today. If the show wasn't early enough, we're doing the early show today. Main reason is Marissa's got to head out of town and we've got to have coffee just a little bit earlier. But the other reason is that I was bothered this morning. I was burning up and bothered, and I wanted to get this thing going, get it off my chest and help you out. So this morning we're talking about how FOMO is yes, killing your mission. We're going to touch on that, right? But before we get into that, we got a small piece of other news. And before anything else, we've got Cup of Gratitude. That's right. You know we're going to start with a cup of gratitude. Dory says, hey, and then she says, oh, ba, ba, da, 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 da. She is writing out my song for me. Thank you, Dory, for writing out the lyrics to my song. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. That's too funny, man. So for this morning, what I am grateful for, pull up your cup of gratitude, whether you got coffee or tea, whatever it is. I am grateful, and share in the comments, please, what you're grateful for. I'll tell you what I'm grateful for this morning. This morning, I am grateful for paradigm jumping. Huh? That's right. I'm grateful for paradigm jumping, the ability to switch paradigms and see the world from another perspective. Why I'm grateful for this is this. It's easy to get stuck in a loop. And if anyone knows me, they know that I can get caught in a mental loop, something that bothers the fire out of me, something that irritates me, and I just get focused on that thing and stuck on that thing. In fact, being ADD, you can often actually get hyper-focused on things, and that's just something that happens. And sometimes if you get stuck in a loop that's too negative, you need to break out of it, and you don't have a way to break out of it. Well, paradigm jumping allows you to take a moment and just see things from other perspectives in general. And the ability to see things from other perspectives in general helps you actually create the freedom you need to get out of your loop. Dory says, I'm grateful for friends that purchase properties on the beach. Yep, Dory and Marissa. That's Dory of Homes for Heroes and Dory Joseph Realty. Dory is taking the lovely Marissa, and they're going to go look at another property, another investment property of ours over in Cocoa Beach. So I'm grateful for friends that are willing to go to the beach to look at property. Love having investor friends like Dory and James, who also own businesses, who are also trying to build a thriving life. That just fills me up. And the fact that Marissa and Dory can tear away and we can all divide and conquer. James got to head to work and take care of Nani. I've got to head to work and take care of the businesses as well. So I'm grateful for you guys as well. So that's going to be super fun. Good morning, Dan Sampson. Thanks for checking in. I hope you're doing great. That's a like from Dan Sampson this morning. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let's talk about other news. Let's do this thing. In other news this morning, and this is our only bit of other news because this is a shortened show. I'm going to spend some time with Marissa before she gets in the car. In other news, we have another planetary conjunction. I don't know if y'all saw this or if y'all felt it in the ether. But yeah, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury are aligned in the sky. Actually, this morning, you could run outside and go see it, leave the show playing. You could go see it in the eastern sky today. And it started around 5:45, so you probably saw it a little bit better then. It's a little too bright out there right now. But roughly around 5:45 this morning and maybe a little bit tomorrow, you could actually see Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury in a conjunction, which means perceived by the natural eye, it's hard to actually differentiate them too awful much. Or even identify what they are. There's also a beautiful waning crescent moon out there this morning. Now, fun fact, as the smallest and nearest planet to the sun, Mercury is actually difficult to see. We don't get to see it all the time, except just before sunrise and just around sunset, because it's kind of always near the sun. If you have the sun here and Mercury is always there, we really only see it around sunset and sunrise. If you want to go see, hey, can we catch this thing tomorrow, or what's going on with the planetary conjunction? Boom. There you go. You've got it in the comments right there. And you can see a fun little graphic with the planets in the planetary conjunction. And that, my friends, is other news. Let's freaking talk about FOMO and how it's killing your mission. You guys know I love cutting edge technology. You guys know I pay attention to a lot of news. Brittany says she's grateful for all the locals who showed up to her clubhouse room last night. Brittany and Chris Ann are really pumping it with an awesome entrepreneurship clubhouse. I love the fact that you moved to evenings, Brittany. That might make it more likely for people like me who really grind during the day. I know you grind during the day too. But for people like me who really can't justify pulling up and just being in a clubhouse for an hour in the middle of the day, I love the fact you moved it to the evening, and I'll most likely be able to join that. Polk County officially has a clubhouse club exclusively representing Clubhouse, eShip, and the 863. Applause to Brittany for making this thing happen and really making it so that it's more approachable for the average entrepreneur moving it into the evening hours. So applause to you. So I got the morning shift. Brittany, you can take the evening shift and we'll hype each other. I love it, man. So I'm grateful for Brittany out there, always hustling, always working hard, man. That's fantastic. So you guys know I love cutting edge and what's going on. There is a deep, dark, evil side to paying attention to all things latest and greatest. For example, NFTs, selling digital art, not even real art, for millions of real dollars. On crypto exchanges, Christie's auction selling the latest piece of crypto art by a new artist who's basically a digital artist by the name of Beeple. And he's just sold a $9.75 million piece of art on Christie's. And if only you could invest the time in learning how to create digital art, any kind of art, take photos of your art, appeal to the right groups on these crypto exchanges, and then find out how to build a smart contract on OpenSea, OpenSea.io, and create a smart contract and load your art and make money on that thing, then you too could be an NFT or digital art millionaire on a crypto exchange. And the uniqueness of the art and what are they talking about? I don't even freaking know what they're talking about. If only you could have jumped on GameStop, rallying to $400, making multiple instant millionaires. And if only you could time it right and watch the Reddit forum Wall Street Bets closely, you too could have caught the second rally that pushed it into the $200 mark. Or you could have bought those stock options when the thing tanked. Yes, you had the idea, but if only you had the time. And that sends you perusing for if I could get on the next cutting edge. If I could only join the latest clubhouse meeting after meeting for hours in the middle of a workday when entrepreneurs are working, man, you can't miss it, because if you miss it, you're going to miss out on your economic growth. If only you could pay attention to all of the IPOs and SPACs. These are direct to market listings hitting the stock market each week. This week it's Roblox. And it's Roblox and what's the other one? Not Clubhouse, Coinbase. If only you could be present for those and pay attention to when those listings happen, then you too could invest early in the time and energy and research it takes. Is your heart rate raising? It should. It's stressful. If only I could peruse my Facebook feed enough to catch that insight. If only I could peruse my clubhouse groups to hear for the insider secrets. FOMO is causing you to eke out time towards these things, hoping for your breakaway moment or your life hack to quick riches. And we definitely need to keep in mind cutting edge things, my friends. You guys, like I said, know I love what's cutting edge. You need to pay attention to what's affecting your skill or the future of your skill, your industry or your trade, of course. But the competition in your day job and in your business is stiff enough. And they're already coming for that market position already, even without these other distractions. Keeping up with the latest trends in your field, just your field, is already challenging enough. Unless you're already an artist or a creative, or an active day trader or a social media host with hours available each day, unless you know how to compartmentalize some of this latest news, other news, AI news, outer space news. Unless you're already in this space or have the ability to compartmentalize, you're going to have to increase the parameters on what you choose to ignore and what you choose to pay attention to. I'm really grateful that Brittany is creating a clubhouse that has a much narrower niche. A niche to her geography, which I think is important. A niche to her field, which is entrepreneurship. Yes, she's jumped into Clubhouse, but she is starting to narrow and create parameters on what she is choosing to ignore and what she is choosing to pay attention to. Marissa and I are talking about NFTs, and we jumped in, and I even issued a few of my own digital pieces of art, which I'll share one day. But we're starting to narrow even in our conversations early this morning on what we're going to ignore and what we're going to pay attention to. A lot of you follow Marissa's hiking, and you do that because she has an extraordinary story, but also she's really curated her Instagram following. She has chosen very specifically what to ignore and what to pay attention to. How can you know the difference between you chasing some of these cutting edge things? It's one thing to listen to news. It's one thing to listen to cutting news and other news and whether or not we're going to space and what's going on with AI and how that's affecting your industry. I bring these things to you not to distract you, not to stress you out. I bring these things to you, hopefully that they're interesting, hopefully they're educational, but hopefully you're just rounding out your knowledge and synthesizing these things and then go back to your day job and synthesize, how is this relevant to my core thing, my one thing, as Gary Keller said, or as Curly said in City Slickers, what's your one thing? What's your one thing? You've always got to synthesize other news. I hope you're synthesizing it, but I hope you're not getting sucked into FOMO. FOMO is causing people to invest in things. FOMO caused more people to lose money on the GameStop bet than made it. In fact, out of the top 10 people that made money on GameStop, 8 of them were the very mutual funds they were trying to put out of business. The people that lost the most money were not the mutual funds. It was individuals who got sucked into FOMO. Sucked into FOMO and lost their money. Well, so what? It's money they had it to lose. They were in a cause. And if you watch some of the TikToks or the videos on YouTube, you can see them. We don't care. They literally said, we don't care if we lose money. We're going to take these guys down. The only people you took down was people who either had mutual funds, those mutual funds got sucked to nothing, or your peers who lost a ton of money when the GameStop came down and the very mutual funds that you were trying to put out of business made more money. You could say the same thing about the latest social media trend. I'm going to get on this thing and I'm going to invest. It's revolutionary. Yeah, you could, but the only thing you're really missing out on in the middle of the day is that extra hour that you that's already being eaten by Netflix and social media and Facebook and keeping up with that. And now you're going to give it another hour that you're not even sure it's marketing. Now, again, what Brittany and Chrisanne are trying to do is really refine and figure this thing out. And they're going to be early adopters. They've worked through it. But you can see they're adjusting it a little bit. They're pushing it into other hours because people are realizing things have to change. Your FOMO is causing you to lose time. Your FOMO is causing you to lose money. So listen, is it all about NFTs? Grant, are you against NFTs? Are you against GameStop? Are you against Clubhouse? Are you against any of this? Of course not. I'm against you not managing your headspace. I'm against you pulling on to the latest trend and creating a habit of jumping on the latest trend. I'm all about you jumping on the latest news, but please be a critical thinker. Here's what we're going to talk about. 5 quick things I think you should be doing to gain your brain back while you're engaged in these things. Number 1, you should know the principle, grow what you know, and in knowing that it's nearly always a better investment. So Brittany knows the 863. She knows Polk County. So she's learned a skill with Clubhouse. She's partnered with Chrisanne Long. And if you're paying attention to this in other places, these are local people and local influencers. And now she's growing what she knows, the entrepreneurship community in Polk County. And she knows that, and she's modifying the service she's offering to that. Grow what you know. My millionaire mentor told me to grow what I know. He was into real estate and he grew what he knew. Me and Marissa know digital. So we're actually paying closer attention to NFTs as it pertains to some of the things we touch every day. But we grow what we know. We jump in just long enough to synthesize it and then we make it our own. But do I think I'm going to be the next Steve Aoki selling an $8 million piece of art to the CEO of T-Mobile? I don't think that at all, man. That just happened last night. There is a compound nature on the thing you're already doing. So as you touch other news, as you touch cutting edge news, as you touch cutting edge things, and FOMO comes up in you, make sure you channel that energy to the thing you already know. Combine what is new and what you don't know with what you do know. That's called synthetic learning. You synthesize it, you mash it up and put it together, and you create a new thing for yourself. But make sure you're always building your own thing and not someone else's thing. Number 2, have a very clear mission statement. You are going to hear about more and more new things. You're going to hear about more and more new millions. There are newly minted millionaires nearly daily now, and billionaires are coming up closely after that. And I know you want yours, and I know I want mine. But having a clear mission statement can prevent you from losing energy and touching all of these things and just synthesizing this into your mission statement, synthesizing the cutting edge into what you're already doing. Number 3, please prune your social media feeds even further. Please prune the things you're paying attention to, because the more available there is, the more people get drawn into different neighborhoods and nooks and new neighborhoods and nooks on the internet. You're going to have to prune more. The pruning is a great metaphor. You can prune a tree in spring, and guess what happens next spring? You're going to have to prune it again. The thing grows. Our social presence, our news media, these things grow. You're going to have to always be pruning. ABP. Always be pruning. Pruning your feeds, pruning your news, pruning your search engines. You can prune all of these things so that they're really only helping you grow in your space. Niching is so important. Pay attention to what's going on in other fields, but only insofar as it relates to your thing. Number 4, specify limited time windows for studying or experimenting with anything not in your field. Set aside a specific window, like 3M. They had 20% of their employees' weeks were dedicated to experiments. Do that. I encourage it. Good morning, Jessica. I hope you are doing fantastic today. That's the lovely Jessica Ojeda, who is a baller. Haven't seen her so much lately because she's been busy, I think, on the homestead and just really pushing her thing forward, man. Good morning, Jessica. I hope you're doing great. So number 4, specify specific time windows when you will let your hair down and experiment with things, but come out of that. And you need to come out of that because FOMO will cause you to throw energy in this corner, and this corner, and this corner, and suddenly you're 100% of energy, or after everyone else takes and borrows from your energy, it's probably only a 50 to 80% left of your actual mental energy each day. Then if you go diffuse that with too much experimentation, you're not going to be good for much for your core thing. Specify when you're going to experiment with Clubhouse, NFTs. In Jessica's case, new gardening techniques. There's robots that are gardening all the time, right? Can we experiment with that? Yeah, but you can't stop making sure that you're tending the garden in general. So number 4 is specify limited time windows for studying or experimenting with anything not in your field, and limit it to that, and then say, I'm not going to experience FOMO because I did touch it and I'm synthesizing it as I go through my week for what's relevant to my core thing, right? And last but not least, number 5, spend more time with real people. Oof, what am I talking about? As I talk about NFTs, but I walk around the lake with my friend Clarence McLaughlin and we just talk about life. Yeah, we're talking about real estate. Then we end up talking about crypto contracts. Then we end up talking about crypto art. And lo and behold, he's got all of these other knowns he's feeding me. I trust his input. I trust his perspective. I trust how he's made a lot of good success in his life. And walking the lake with him was way more important than me just tinkering and doing FOMO with all of these other things, because he gave me a reliable context point about NFTs and about Clubhouse and about investing in general. He set me and Marissa on it. He doesn't know it, but he sent me and Marissa on a whole trajectory from investing just from that walk around the lake. Your friends, industry leaders, and those you respect in your parallel industries are a much better investment when these things pop up. If you see something bright and shiny, yes, go check the thing, experiment with it in your time window, but then call your industry peers, people you respect, and go, hey, what are you looking at here with this? I got in a conversation with Matthew Wenger. I love Matthew Wenger's life journey because I was, yes, critical of his business approach years ago. But he stuck to it, and he's proven to be such a valuable resource in his space. He's wedding an event. He basically creates a, forgive me for the parents watching, holy crap stationery, right? He creates this amazing stationery, and he and I approached one another, and I saw him in line at a local bakery, and he said, hey man, I want to talk to you about this thing called NFTs, digital art that's selling for millions. I'd love to talk to you more. And then we talked a little bit about it. We shared some knowledge. We cross-pollinated in that moment. It was like 5 minutes. And then he went off and shared an article with me with someone we both respect who had their own view on NFTs. And it shaped me and Marissa's approach. And now me and Marissa talked about that this morning. The dominoes of number 5, spending more real time with real people. So 5 of these steps that I'm kind of looking at. Remember to grow what you know as you touch bright and shiny things, and make sure that as you touch bright and shiny things, you're synthesizing that and taking that home to your thing that you know. And that's what Brittany just said. That's how I got this far for Clubhouse, walking the lake with Chris Ann Long. Boom. And Chris Ann Long has been all about it. And she's almost been too cutting edge for me. She's inviting me all the time to Clubhouse. And I'm like, I can't justify this thing. And then I was on a Clubhouse last week. It was really good. We touched a lot of good people. And then Brittany, just walking the lake and spending time with Chris Ann, they shaped this idea further. They're walking the lake. They're getting fresh air. They're being with each other. They're lifting up their story, and they're shaping and synthesizing that technology. Grow what you know is nearly and always a better investment than just jumping in whole hog and giving into FOMO. Number 2, having a clear mission statement will help you shape those ideas further. Instead of just getting sucked into a tidal wave of FOMO, you're actually making use of it. You're using it instead of becoming a tool for it. It's becoming a tool for you. Number 3, prune your feeds even further so that it's reinforcing. Here's why. Entropy will mean that this stuff will be in your face. If you haven't seen a mainstream article on NFTs or Clubhouse or GameStop, you are literally hiding under a rock. Mainstream media is talking about it all the time. It's going to creep in regardless. So prune your feeds even further to be about the thing you want to be about. Now, you might want to be about these things and change your whole life about that thing, of course. You can say, Grant, that's it. I'm giving up my career as an insurance agent. I'm becoming a surfer. Great. Or I'm becoming an NFT digital artist, and I'm doing that for the rest of my life. Like, it's a life direction. Okay, do that. But that's when you change your mission statement, then prune your feeds for that. Number 4, specify limited time windows for experimentation for anything not in your field. Commit to it. Experiment well. Get into it. Get up to your eyeballs into it. But that's to release the steam, release the pressure cooker of fear of missing out. No, I didn't miss out. I did experiment with it. I got involved. I learned what I needed to learn. I moved on. And FOMO will leave you. Number 5, spend more time with real people the way Brittany did with Chris Ann Long. Listen, guys, go out there and have a phenomenal day. I know I am. I'm going to focus on my core thing and act on some cutting edge things because I've synthesized it. I'm not giving in to FOMO. I'm paying attention to trends. I think these 5 steps will really, really help you. Listen, go out there and have a phenomenal day. If you need any help with anything, please visit us at stateofthespark.com. If you want to talk about any of this stuff and even talk about the cutting edge, but contextualizing it for you, visit us at Goals and Gratitude and bring up a topic. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about NFTs. And we can talk about what that even means. Let's talk about Clubhouse and how you're synthesizing it, Brittany. Let's talk about important things. But whatever you do, remember the mission today. Igniting lives of explosive significance. Whoop.